More fallout after the Fox 5 I-Team finds thousands of Atlanta drivers ticketed unfairly on Memorial Drive.
For 5 months, flashing school zone lights near Drew Charter School confused drivers, shutting off 15 minutes early while automated cameras went on ticketing as if the lights were still blinking.
I-Team reporter Johnny Edwards wanted to know how the glitch happened and uncovered records raising questions about whether the cameras should have been operating at all. Johnny, frustrating, to say the least.
That's right. It raises questions about whether any tickets should have been issued. To get a state permit to operate those cameras, Atlanta Public Schools promised to add extra street signs that would have made speed limits crystal clear. But we found the plan got changed. Along this busy road, two machines, one set to blink, another to crank out speeding tickets. But with the one that blinks cutting off 15 minutes too early. Misleading drivers right into citations.
And I don't remember the lights flashing.
David Malkin hit with a ticket after dropping off his son at the Eastlake YMCA.
I feel like if they had been flashing, I would not have been speeding.
Our investigation found he's not the only one. With nearly 4,500 citations written for speeding above a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit, even though these lights had stopped. Our investigation found Atlanta Public Schools knew about the flasher problem in November, but the cameras went on ticketing. The problem finally fixed May 2nd. The city and camera contractor Vera Mobility agreeing to refunds and providing an email address for information. But we noticed something else confusing about this school zone. With the flashers not blinking at the right times, the only indication drivers had of when to slow down is this sign, physically posted after drivers have already passed the school zone camera, which clocks and photographs cars. Well, why didn't you see that sign right there that says it's 25 until 5 o'clock?
I think the answer would be because I was more focused on the flashers.
In the other direction, no such sign posted at all.
There's nothing to alert you.
This man brought that up before an Atlanta judge threw out his ticket last month.
There literally is no sign going eastbound on Memorial Drive that says anything about anything other than 25 miles per hour when flashing.
It turns out that while the flashers should have been working properly, other street signs on this stretch of road were supposed to have been a lot clearer, according to the school system's state permit to run the cameras. It's even spelled out on Atlanta Public Schools' permit application to run the cameras, which by law required approval from Georgia Department of Transportation. A state traffic engineer signed off, adding a handwritten note. Cameras shall be turned on after sign upgrades are complete. So what were those upgrades? They're laid out in these project plans, with the work to be done by the city's transportation department and camera contractor Vera Mobility. For the westbound lane, add enforcement time sign to the existing flashing beacon sign assembly. Instead, a separate sign put a little ways down the hill. By that time, could you have avoided getting the ticket?
No, by the time I was close enough to read that sign, I would have already passed the speed cameras.
The plans by Vera Mobility called for the same thing for traffic in the other direction. Instead, only a traffic camera. We wanted to know what happened to the plans. Atlanta DOT told us in written answers to questions they did add those extra signs, but took them down after consulting with Vera Mobility. A city spokesperson saying these signs were installed to cover the when flashing text printed on the original flashing beacon signs, as per the original design plan. However, after discussions with Atlanta DOT and Vera Mobility, the enforcement time signs were then removed. The city saying the new signs would have been more difficult to follow, possibly creating confusion during the summer when school is out. While a spokesperson for Atlanta's Transportation Department said the changes complied with state guidelines, GDOT wasn't consulted. GDOT telling the Fox 5 I-Team in writing, if the permit holder fails to meet the conditions of the permit would be considered invalid.
If those tickets have been issued in error, then I would want, Atlanta DOT to seriously consider giving rebates back to those people.
Becky Evans represents the area in the Georgia House. While APS applied for the state permit, it doesn't collect the speeding fines. So refunds would come from the city and Vera Mobility.
More importantly, I just want them to make sure they take care of these problems because the community The community itself is happy. The cameras are working at slowing people down.
Again, we found no one from Atlanta Public Schools willing to go on camera to address the permit or tickets caused by faulty flashers. Vera Mobility referred us back to APS. Our data shows more than 11,000 citations written by those cameras through mid-April, with Vera Mobility taking a $25 cut of each one. Courtney, Eric?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of questions, valid questions here, you know, with the permit and whether it's even valid for those cameras to be there. At any rate, it seems like all of the tickets that were issued could now be called into question. But what if you're one of the drivers who was ticketed, but you were not given a refund or you don't qualify for one because of the flasher problem?
That's a very good question, and it's going to be up to the state and the city to decide that. You would think that if you can fight a ticket by challenging a police officer's radar certification, you could do the same thing with automated cameras permit. But for those folks, you know, who've already paid and who didn't save their records, they might have a tough time with this.
All right, Johnny Edwards, I'm sure after this report, you'll be getting a lot more emails with people complaining as well.
Oh, it never ends with this. This has a lot of people upset and a lot of lawmakers talking about it too.
Well, understandably so. All right, Johnny, thanks.
Thank you.